remember handing out Disney tickets to all the grandkids, one by one, with that cheerful family party kind of vibe. When it was my son's turn, my dad looked down at the stack in his hand and said, "I think we miscounted." Instead of fixing it, they just laughed and gave the 2 leftover tickets to a couple of random kids wearing Mickey tiaras. My son just stood there, watching, not really understanding what was happening. I didn't say anything. I just watched as a pair of strangers walked by and happily took the extra tickets. My son was still holding the lemonade I had bought for him, gripping it like it was the only thing he had left. My sister clapped her hands together, telling everyone to gather for a group photo. I watched as all the cousins lined up, waving their Disney tickets in the air like trophies. Mason looked up at me, confused, waiting for me to tell him what to do. I told him we didn't need a picture. After the photo, Mom came over with her same practiced warmth, asking if we were doing okay. I told her we were fine. She didn't notice my voice shaking. Or maybe she did and just decided to ignore it. When it was time to leave, Mason asked if he could still wear his Mickey shirt for bed. He said maybe Grandpa would find another ticket later. I told him maybe, but I knew better. That night, after he fell asleep, I sat on the couch scrolling through photos my sister had already posted online. Everyone smiling, hashtags about family first, and best grandparents ever. I stared at those pictures for a long time, wondering when I'd stopped expecting them to treat me, or my son, like we were part of that story. Still, something inside me started to shift that night. I didn't know it yet, but that small moment, that single ticket that should have gone to Mason, would unravel everything I thought I'd accepted about my family. The next morning, I woke up to my phone buzzing nonstop. My family group chat was blowing up with messages, pictures of suitcases, hotel confirmations, emojis of Mickey ears. Everyone was giddy. It was like that ticket incident had never even happened. I scrolled through the messages until I saw my mom's text. "Remember to bring sunscreen for the kids. Can't wait for our big family trip." She had tagged everyone except me. I stared at that message for a while, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. There was this urge to say something sharp, something that would finally make them feel the sting they'd ignored last night. But then I glanced over at Mason, sitting on the floor with his cereal, trying to build a castle out of Legos. He was humming to himself, peaceful, unaware, and suddenly, starting a fight felt useless. I told myself maybe it was just an oversight. Maybe Mom had meant to tag me and forgot. She forgets things all the time. Birthdays, school recitals, every single thing that isn't about my sister's perfect kids. Later that day, I called her. She sounded cheerful, too cheerful. She talked about hotel rates, the breakfast buffet, how excited the grandkids were. When I mentioned Mason, there was a pause, tiny but heavy. Then she said, "Oh honey, I thought you weren't coming. You didn't say anything last night." I wanted to remind her that she hadn't given us a ticket, that she'd literally handed ours to 2 random girls she didn't even know, but the words got stuck in my throat again. Instead, I just said we'd figure something out. After I hung up, I sat there on the couch for a long time, staring at the spot on the wall where Mason's kindergarten picture hung slightly crooked. The house felt too quiet, like the silence itself was waiting for me to admit something I'd been avoiding for years, that this wasn't about a ticket. It never was. When I was a kid, things were always divided that way. My sister Amanda was the golden one, confident, loud, the kind who never asked for permission. I was quieter, more cautious. My parents used to joke that Amanda lit up every room while I kept things grounded. It sounded harmless then, but when you hear that kind of thing your whole life, it starts to sound like a hierarchy. After the Disney tickets, something inside me cracked open. I stopped pretending I didn't notice the small slights, the way my mom only complimented Mason when comparing him to someone else, or how Dad always said, "You're doing your best," in that tone that sounded more like pity than praise. That night, Mason asked if Grandma and Grandpa were still going to Disney. I told him yes, and he nodded. He asked if maybe we could go to the zoo instead. It hit me how easy it was for him to adjust, to accept being left out like it was normal, like he'd already learned it from watching me. I went online and looked up zoo tickets, but as I did, my mom's Facebook post popped up again. She'd uploaded a picture of all the grandkids holding their Disney tickets, captioned, "Can't wait for memories that will last a lifetime." There were 9 kids in the photo. Mason wasn't one of them. And in the comments, Amanda wrote, "So blessed, best parents ever." That was the first time in years I let myself cry. Not because of anger, but because I realized how small they'd made us feel, over and over, until we started to believe we deserved it. But here's the thing. When you finally see it clearly, when you stop making excuses for people who keep showing you who they are, something changes. And I was about to change too. A week later, I got a text from Amanda. She said Mom wanted everyone to meet at her house that Sunday before the trip, just to go over final details. I stared at the message, debating if I should even show up. I already knew what family meetings meant. My mom holding court in the kitchen while everyone else agreed with her like it was a performance. But then I thought about Mason. He still asked, every couple of days, if Grandpa had found his ticket yet. I figured showing up might at least give me a chance to say something. Or maybe I just wanted to see if they'd noticed the hurt they caused. When we got there, the house smelled like cinnamon candles and coffee, the same scent it always had when I was a kid. Mason went straight to play with the other cousins. My mom was at the counter, slicing fruit, her bracelets clinking against the cutting board. Amanda was beside her, showing her some new apps she used to organize their Disney itinerary. They looked like a team, like they always did. My dad came over, patted Mason's head, and said, "Hey, champ." He didn't mention the ticket. Didn't mention anything, actually. Just went back to the living room to watch football. I waited for a while, trying to find the right moment to bring it up. But every time I opened my mouth, Mom or Amanda would start another conversation. Something about fast passes or which restaurants had the best character breakfasts. It was like the whole house was built to drown me out. Finally, I just said it. I told Mom that Mason never got his ticket, that I didn't think it was fair how it happened. She froze for a second, then laughed softly, like I'd just said something embarrassing. She said, "Oh, honey, don't make this a thing. You know we love Mason. It was just a small mix-up." A small mix-up. Amanda chimed in, saying maybe I'd misunderstood, that Dad had meant to reorder more but probably forgot. I reminded her that I was there, that I saw them hand the extra tickets to strangers. My mom's smile faded, and she said something about how and if you don't want to wait for part 2, you can watch the full story on my YouTube channel. Just click share, then more, and then click the YouTube link here on my profile or search for the channel Cooper Reddit on YouTube.